I have said those 4 words more times than I can count. I smell alcohol, and I always knew what I was listening for next.
I knew before the driver opened their mouth. I knew before they took a breath. I knew because those 4 words were never just an observation.
Those 4 words were never just an observation. They were the beginning of a sequence, and the driver almost never knew it had started.
This is one of the hardest things I have recorded, because explaining it means pulling back the curtain on something I was trained to do, something I did for years, and something that most people on your side of the window will never understand until it is too late to matter. I am not recording this to make you afraid of every traffic stop.
The next 10 seconds after an officer says those 4 words are the most consequential of the entire encounter.
Here is the scene. It is late. You got pulled over for something small, a tail light, a lane change, rolling through a stop sign. The officer comes to your window. You have your license ready. You are being cooperative. And then they lean in slightly and say it. I smell alcohol.
I smell alcohol. Your instinct is to explain, deny, justify. Most people say something. Most people make it worse.
You feel it land. The words hit differently than anything else in the stop. Your heart moves. Your hands tighten on the wheel, or they reach without thinking. And your instinct, your very human, very understandable instinct, is to respond, to explain, to clarify, to say something that will make this better. Not because they are lying, because they do not know that whatever comes out of their mouth in that moment is already becoming part of the official record before a single test has been administered.
Whatever comes out of your mouth in that moment is already becoming part of the official record before any test.
There is one sentence you need to have ready before that moment arrives. Before you explain, before you deny, before you justify, before the words you choose do the officer's job for them.
Subscribe now. What comes next is something nobody told you. Most people only learn it after it is too late.
The sentence you need is this. Officer, I want to cooperate fully. Can you tell me exactly what you need from me right now? That is it. I know what you are thinking. That is the phrase. Yes, exactly. Because it does not confirm anything. It does not deny anything. It does not address the smell claim at all. It redirects the entire encounter from an open-ended observation to a specific request. And that shift is everything. The power is not that it is a loophole. The power is that it creates a pause where most people allow a collapse. Before you commit to any direction, before you hand the officer the material they were listening for, you have asked for clarity. You have cooperated. You have said nothing wrong. But the phrase alone is not enough. The phrase only works if the tone is calm, if the body is still, and if you stop talking the moment the sentence is finished. And before we get to the how, there are 3 conditions that make this moment more dangerous than most drivers understand.
The first condition, you do not know if the question is voluntary or required. It sounds like conversation. It is intake.
When the officer says, I smell alcohol, and then follows it with, have you had anything to drink tonight? That question sounds like conversation. It sounds like something you should answer the way you would answer a neighbor. It is not. It is intake. The moment your answer leaves your mouth, it is in the record. You are sitting there with the window halfway down, and the patrol lights painting everything in red and blue, and the officer's voice is calm and professional, and the question sounds like small talk, and so you answer. You say something. You say almost anything. And the moment you do, the sequence moves forward on the officer's terms instead of yours. The second condition is that you treat the smell claim as if it requires a direct response. It does not. The officer has made an observation. That observation is not a question. It is not a formal request. It is not a test. But because the words land with weight, because they feel like an accusation you need to address, you respond to them directly. You confirm or you deny. And both of those responses give the officer something they didn't yet have.
The smell claim is the opening. What you say next determines whether it becomes anything more than that.
The third condition is the one that gets the most honest, most cooperative drivers. You explain because you want to be helpful. You say, I only had one beer with dinner because you genuinely believe that transparency will help, that it will show the officer you have nothing to hide, that it will end the stop faster. From your side of the window, it feels like the right move. From the officer's side, it is a confirmation of consumption that was never formally requested, and it is now in the official record. Helpfulness becomes the mechanism of something much heavier than you intended. So what do you do instead? There are 3 actions, and they all happen before you add a single word.
The phrase comes first, before anything else leaves your mouth. Officer, I want to cooperate. Fully. What do you need?
That is your entire first response, not the beginning of your response, all of it. The second action is to keep your hands visible and your body still while you say it. Not stiff, not frozen. Still. Your hands on the wheel, both of them, visible. No reaching toward the glove box because you are nervous. No shifting in your seat. No movements that say something different from the calm words coming out of your mouth. The body and the phrase need to carry the same message. If your voice is calm and your hands are moving, those are 2 different signals, and only one of them is working for you.
The silence after the phrase is not a problem. It is protection. Do not fill it. The officer will state what they need.
Now let me tell you about the 3 ways this encounter gets pushed out of your hands. Because knowing about the phrase is not the same as holding on to it when the pressure starts. The first pressure tactic is casual tone, used as a vehicle for formal intake. Before the officer even repeats the smell claim, before they ask about drinking directly, they ask something friendly. Where are you coming from tonight? Long day? What part of town do you live in? The conversational register feels like small talk because it sounds like small talk. It is not. The record is always formal even when the voice is not. And because the tone is easy, you answer easily. You explain your evening. You mention the restaurant. You mention the glass of wine with the pasta. None of that was asked for. All of it is now logged. The second pressure tactic is urgency that skips the window you need. Go ahead and step out for me is said immediately after the smell claim, before you have had a chance to use the phrase, before you have understood what is being requested versus what is being ordered. The speed of the request is the tactic. When something feels like it must happen right now, your body wants to comply just to relieve the tension. Slow down internally even when the pace of the encounter is fast. The phrase takes 4 seconds to say. You have 4 seconds. The third pressure tactic is the repeated claim presented as something you must address. I'm telling you I can smell it, said with a slight edge. The implication is that you need to respond to the observation directly, confirm it, deny it, explain it. You do not. The phrase does not engage the smell claim at all. It redirects. You are not saying the officer is wrong. You are not saying they are right. You are asking what they specifically need from you. Those are different things, and only one of them helps you.
Share this with someone you care about right now. They need it before it happens to them.
So here is the path, clearly stated. If the officer responds to your phrase with a specific, lawful request, you cooperate. Fully. Calmly. You announce your movements before you make them. You provide what is asked. You do not re-engage the smell claim conversationally. You do not try to explain your drinking history while you are complying. The stop is moving on a specific track now, and you stay on it. If the officer's response is vague, just answer the question, "Come on, I already told you I can smell it." You use the follow-up. I want to answer you accurately. Am I being asked to answer that question, or am I free to wait for the specific test? Calm. Even. Still. You are not refusing. You are asking for clarity about what you are actually being asked to do. If the officer becomes visibly irritated, you do not match that energy. You do not mirror frustration with frustration. You do not debate the smell claim on the side of a road at night. You repeat cooperation clearly. I am not refusing anything, officer. I want to be clear about what I am being asked to do so I can cooperate correctly. And then your priority is your physical safety. Whatever comes next in that encounter, your safety is more important than winning the exchange. You commit every word to memory. You document it afterward. The record belongs to you, and it may matter later. Now, let me tell you about the 3 mistakes that destroy the protection. Because I have watched this go wrong in real time, and it was never because someone was reckless. It was because they were under pressure, and their instinct moved faster than their judgment.
The first mistake, volunteering details before any question is formally asked. That sentence was not required. It is in the record.
You say it reflexively. I only had 2 drinks at dinner. You say it because you want to seem transparent, because you want the officer to see that you are not impaired, because you believe honesty will end this faster. That sentence was not required. It is in the record now. And it will be in the record regardless of how the rest of the stop goes. The phrase first. Always. Before any detail about your evening. The second mistake is denying the smell in a way that creates a confrontation. I do not smell like anything, said with frustration. Said because the claim feels unfair or untrue. The officer has made an observation. You are now contesting it directly. You have turned an opener into a dispute. And you have done it before you had any idea what the officer was actually going to ask for. The phrase does not address the smell claim. That is exactly why it works. You are not saying the officer is wrong. You are asking what they need. The third mistake is explaining your timeline to demonstrate that you are fine. I had a glass of wine at 6, and it is almost 10 now. So I am absolutely okay to drive. You say this because you believe it. You may be right. But what you have just done is provided a detailed consumption record that was never formally requested. And it is now part of everything that follows. One phrase, then silence. Then you respond to specific formal requests only. But here is the part I need you to stay for. Because this is the section most people never get to. What if it is already too late? What if you already said I only had a couple? Already explained when and what? Already stepped out of the car before you understood whether you were being ordered to or asked to?
What if it is already too late? Stop extending the record. Do not argue. Do not retract out loud. Write it all down after.
Here is what you do. You stop extending the record. Additional explanation does not undo what was already said. It makes the record longer in ways that are harder to work with later. You do not argue about what you meant. The words are logged as they were spoken, not as you intended them. You do not try to retract or reframe anything out loud on that road. If more questions are coming, you use the escalation phrase. I want to cooperate correctly. Can you tell me specifically what you need from me right now? Said calmly. Said without matching whatever energy the encounter has taken on. And the moment the stop is over, the moment it is safe, you write down every word that was said. The order it happened, what the officer said first, what you said after that, every word. That record belongs to you. It does not fix what happened, but it preserves an honest account of it. And that may matter more than anything said during the stop. Let me walk you through two versions of the same moment. You are driving back from dinner. It is late. Lights come on behind you. You pull over. The officer approaches in the glow of their flashlight, leans toward your halfway down window, and says it. I smell alcohol. Your hands are on the wheel. You do not flinch. You do not reach. You say, Officer, I want to cooperate fully. Can you tell me exactly what you need from me right now? Pause. The officer states a specific request. You respond to that request. You announce your movements. You hand over what is asked. Nothing extra was said. Nothing extra is in the record. The stop either continues or it does not. But you did not build the case. Now the second version. You already said something. Maybe I only had one beer with dinner came out before you could stop it. The officer has that now and asks you to step out. You feel the moment accelerating and you want to explain further. Here is what you do instead. You stop. You cooperate with the specific request. You keep your hands visible. If more questions come, you use the follow-up phrase. The encounter does not reverse. What was said, but it stops moving forward on its own energy. Stopping the acceleration is sometimes the best version of a moment that has already started going the wrong way. I want to be clear about something before I close this. This is not about making a traffic stop into a legal battle. Most officers conducting a DUI stop are doing exactly what public safety requires. A calm driver who uses the phrase cooperates with specific requests and keeps their hands visible is not a problem for anyone in that situation. Rights awareness in this moment is not disrespect. It is the difference between giving information that was formally asked for and volunteering information that was not. Those are different things. The goal is not to win. The goal is to get home and let the record reflect only what actually happened. Let me bring it back. I smell alcohol is not the end of the stop. It is the beginning of a sequence. Your next words determine what the sequence becomes. The phrase, Officer, I want to cooperate fully. Can you tell me exactly what you need from me right now? Say it once, then stop. If pressed, I want to answer you accurately. Am I being asked to answer that question? Or am I free to wait for the specific test? If the officer becomes irritated, I'm not refusing anything, officer. I want to be clear about what I am being asked to do, so I can cooperate correctly. 3 mistakes that cost people: volunteering consumption details before they are asked, denying the smell in a way that creates a confrontation, explaining a drinking timeline to prove sobriety. And if it is already too late, stop extending the record, use the escalation phrase, write everything down the moment it is safe to do so. Send this to someone who drives home late from dinner and thinks mentioning 1 glass of wine makes them look cooperative. Send it to someone who does not know that helpful and harmless are not the same thing in that moment. If you have been through a stop like this, comment the city where it happened and what you said after those 4 words. Because those patterns matter, and this community is stronger when we share what we actually experienced.
The goal is not to win. It is to make sure you do not create accountability that did not exist before you opened your mouth.
I said those 4 words for years. I knew what I was listening for. I am telling you what it was because the phrase you choose in that 10-second window is not about winning anything. It is about making sure you do not create accountability that did not exist before you opened your mouth. That is the only thing this was ever about, and that is why it needed to be said.